Hey guys, how's it going? We are on episode 10 of the Derust SSL series. I haven't really moved anywhere, but that's besides the point. We can focus on getting to a high rank later. You just gotta get the series started, you know? But for today, I actually kind of have sort of a special episode for you guys because I actually thought of something to talk about. Actually, a full-on story to tell instead of just talking about random Rocket League news, you know? It's been a hot minute since I looked back on this, but I'm really excited and I want to share this with you guys. It's about a tournament I played in a while back with some friends of mine, and it was the most intense tournament of all time. It was insane. So that's what we're doing today. I'll hop right in. All right, first game here. I don't really recognize anyone, but that's all right. So this tournament I'm talking about is the high school state tournament for the state I live in. Obviously, Rocket League is teams of 3. So I was on a team with me and 2 of my friends. We've been playing Rocket League for a long time, and we're good enough to make it to state. Now, this story starts actually almost 3 years ago when we went to state for the first time. We had some crazy miracle luck not getting to state. That was easy. But our school actually had 2 different teams in state, and then another school that combined with us meant we were essentially going with 3 different teams to state. And our school couldn't get the budget funding to give us a bus to go to, it was like a 2-hour drive to state, and they couldn't give the esports club the funding to get a bus. So we all just pitched in and rented a limo. That was actually kind of sick. That was really fun. Anyways, we made it through the first round with no trouble. And then the second round, we ran into this team named Lindbergh Flyers. And that name's actually kind of important, so keep that in mind. But we actually ended up losing to them, putting us into the losers bracket. And for this, it wasn't like a championship bracket. You didn't have a chance to come back, but we still could fight for 3rd place because it was the semifinals that we lost in. So we lost our second round, not to mention it was a pretty close series, but they had one really good player. He was like top 100 player, and he kind of pieced us up. It was a pretty close series. Anyways, we got into the fight for 3rd place, and we ended up playing the other team from our school. So it was our school versus our school. And our team, the one I was on, we barely won in, I think, game 5 overtime. But we were okay with our 3rd place. Lindbergh ended up losing in the finals to our other team. So like the one who joined forces with us. So we got, as our group, we got 1st, 3rd, and 4th, which is not bad at all. However, the other 2 teams that we grouped up with were all made of all seniors. So they all graduated that year. Our team was still left there by ourselves. We didn't have anyone anymore. But they didn't graduate immediately. They graduated at the end of the year, and this event only happened in fall. So after that tournament ended and we lost to Lindbergh, we were pretty stinking mad that we lost because we knew we could have done better if we had just practiced a little bit more, played better, or whatever. So we grinded so hard until the end of the year. We actually ended up playing in the nationals. That didn't go very well, but that's a story for another video. We got a lot better. I got up to the level that the really good guy from Lindbergh was at, and the rest of my team were like playing at GC3 level easy. So we got much better than we were. And then the year ended, and all of our teammates, or all the people we teamed up with, they all graduated and all left. Our team, even though we were still there and we were still on the team, we kind of lost the motivation to play a little bit. We weren't as excited to go to practices because we didn't have people our level that we were playing against. We were just playing by ourselves in comp. So we kind of stopped practicing, and we actually ended up not practicing once during the entire season. Not once. And in fact, none of us even really played the game very much anymore. I was the only one who still played, other than so up before the tournament at the end, you had to make it to state. So there was a regular season that lasted for like 10 weeks, I think, and you'd play a different team every week. It was like best of 3, and then based on your seeding in that, then you'd have to do a playoffs tournament, and if you lost, you're out. But if you made it through the playoffs tournament, you made it into state. So we would just log on every week and complete our match so that we didn't get disqualified and then log back off. Because even though we weren't trying, we still kind of wanted to go to state because it was fun last year. To put in perspective, basically how much further ahead we were than everyone else, even without practicing. There was one day where one of my teammates had work. My other teammate was late. Like his internet wasn't working or something. So it was just me. And I was playing 1v3 against the other team. And I ended up losing the first game. I lost by 1 goal. And then my teammate whose internet wasn't working finally showed up. And we crushed him 10-0. So like 2v3 we were destroying. Even though we should have been practicing, we kind of didn't feel motivated to play. And we didn't really have any reason to because we were kind of crushing everyone. However, what we didn't really realize was we were only really playing people in this time it got split up into sub-regions. We're only playing people in this specific sub-region. So we got through playoffs, no problem. We won all our games, no issues there. And then we got to state and we won our first game at state and we were actually the first team to play. And then we saw Lindbergh play the first round. We were like, oh yeah, they knocked us out last year. And we were watching, it's like, they're playing pretty good. They're also playing better than last year. And then I got to the next round and we came into another team named Francis Howell who was playing and they were playing really good. And we were like, these two teams are kind of nuts. So we won our first game, no problems at all. It was really easy. I don't really remember what happened, but by the end of it, we were intentionally not scoring to let the timer run down faster. Then we got into our game with Francis Howell in the semifinals. And this is where the tournament became the craziest thing I have ever experienced. So it was a best of 5. We started the series off pretty rocky. They had just come off playing their game and we were just getting on, so we had less warm-up time. And we started off a little bit rocky, but we kind of brought it back and we got it 1-1. It was 1-1, it was all tied up. We went to play our third game. Me and the other really good guy on our team kind of tossed in the third game. We kind of started playing not very well. And we actually ended up losing it. So that put us down 2-1. So we were down 2-1 in a best of 5 series. So they win one more game, we lose. We're like, okay, we gotta lock in. We got this. I should also mention the player who's the worst player on our team. I mean, he's not bad in any regard, but he's definitely not as good as me or my other teammate. He also has this thing where he gets really, if we're ever losing anything or he feels like he's messing up or not playing at the level we are, he gets really demotivated and then spirals and plays worse. And last year, that's actually why we ended up losing to Lindbergh, because he started spiraling and thinking he wasn't playing good enough, which in turn, oddly enough, made him not play good enough. If he had kept his head cool, we would have been okay. Anyways, we got into our fourth game, the fourth game of the series. We were down 2-1, and we're like, okay, we're locking in. And then they scored a goal. We're like, okay, we got it. And then they scored another goal on us. It's still winnable, easy win. And then they scored another goal on us. I think there were only like 2.5 minutes left or 2 minutes left. And I looked over at our teammate who gets really easily demotivated. And he was just out of it. He was completely zoned out. He was going silent. He stopped calming. I was like, this might be the end of the run for us. We were ready to go all the way and win state. And now we're about to get knocked out in the semifinals because these guys are playing like crazy. We're just getting destroyed. But then this happened.
Connecting down with Ice, able to read it. Zico gets past to the last man, and Jake able to make the perfect.
He can score on this Francis Howell team. Be able to make it happen.
Another
That's
goal
another
in.
one.
Close. Now, Pinzer just barely gets there in time. Jake trying to get it by. Zico has caught the ball, bringing it down to the Rockbridge net, trying to extend the lead. Pinzer gets rid of Ice. However, Neutral has the ball up to Jake. Jake has an air dribble, finds it into the top middle of the net.
Field and has control. That's a great demo. Has to be stalled out right there by Pinzer.
Chance by Ice, finds it! A pinch.
And after we ended up bringing that back somehow and winning that game, we went into the final game, the semifinals, game 5, and we ended up taking that one as well, pushing us into the finals. Now, I will say, the team that we just came back on and beat were fuming. They were so mad. But I didn't really realize it until I looked back on the pictures and the recordings, because we had so much adrenaline pumping through us from that comeback that we couldn't even like hear or talk to anyone properly, and we had to step outside and walk around the building because we were all, not to mention we were sweating like a motherfucker. I drenched my pants. Like, it was actually insane. I can't believe we came back, and my heart rate must have been like almost 200. It was so close, and I really thought we were out. We had kind of all silently accepted that that was the end of the run for us. And we somehow brought it back, and we won this series. So that put us into the finals against Lindbergh, who knocked us out last year. And we decided that we are not going to let Lindbergh knock us out again. We're going to step up this time. And we kind of did, but we were also really nervous. So while we controlled the pacing of the series, and for the most part, we're kind of beating them to everything and playing really well, we actually ended up tying a bunch. Or like, you know, losing games as much as we won them because we were so nervous we were making simple mistakes. It got pretty scary. We still felt really in control though because we were beating them to everything, and honestly it just felt like we were playing better, but we were just making silly mistakes. We're like, we'll just lock in, it'll be fine. But they must have felt the same way because as soon as we stopped making mistakes, so did they. And we got into the final game of our finals match of the final tournament of the season. And it was game 7, and the nerves were through the roof. It was bad. My hands were shaking. I could barely hold my controller still. We were hard calming. I couldn't even hear what anyone was saying, like in the background, even though people were cheering and talking and stuff. And we were just zoned in. We actually ended up getting a goal pretty early on. So it was 1-0. And we're like, okay, don't let our guard down. Let's get a couple more. Let's secure this. And then we kept playing and we kept taking shots. Nothing was getting through. It stayed 1-0. But the time was also ticking down, and they weren't scoring either. So the time just kept ticking and kept going down. And we were holding this 1-0 lead. And it was getting really close to the end. It was getting really close to the finish. And they just couldn't break through. And then right as the time like got really low and we were starting to think we might have it secured, of course, they managed to tie the game up. That was heartbreaking because we thought we could hold that 1-0 to the end. And now it's back into a 50-50 either way. So we fought through the rest of regular time, and no one ended up scoring. We made it into OT, and I think I'll just roll the clip for you guys and let it speak for itself.
As the ball's floating down, hits the ground, the next goal will determine your most F state champions.
Overtime.
Into game 7, into overtime. Now a
This
chance,
is what
neutral,
everyone dreams
1-on-1, finds it into May.
Oh!
And Rockbridge, 5 seconds into overtime, are your most F Ball State Rocket League champions. Neutral finding it, a bump shot into May, and Rockbridge closed the game out seconds into overtime.
So yeah, game 7, overtime of the final tournament, the final game of the final tournament of what we actually didn't know at the time would have been the final tournament of our careers as a team, ended up winning, just getting into OT from me scoring a kickoff bump. That was the most nervous I've ever been. Here's some pictures from after we won some of the, like here's the trophy and stuff. But oh my gosh, I don't think I have ever sweat so much in a single day. It was actually insane. I really enjoyed that tournament. It was super fun. And I want to play in tournaments again and meet people and make teams. So that's another thing I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to get better. I don't think I'm ever going to play in RLCS. It's just kind of too much for me, especially at my age. I'd still like to run some of the lower end tournaments. I think that'd be fun. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this style of video. I know it's way different than what I normally do, but it was episode 10. I was trying to think of something special, and I'd never told this story before. It was super fun. So I thought it'd be a good video idea. Appreciate you guys watching till the very end, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.